Hello, all of you. This is Shankar Reddy, lecturer in political science from Government Junior College for Girls, Maredpalli, Secunderabad. Today, we are going to discuss a very important topic is that salient features of Indian Constitution. You know very well, in our examination point of view, this is the very frequent one. It consists 10 marks one. It undercomes 10 marks one as essay. You have to pay the attention on this one. Let us try to understand step by step. So before going to details, let us just brief about the introduction of Indian Constitution. You know very well, the Constitution of India is very best constitution among the world constitutions. It was formulated by Constituent Assembly, adopted on the date of November 26, 1949 by Constituent Assembly, and it was came into force in the year 1950, January 26th. So that is why you have to remember these two important dates regarding to the Constitution of India. Our Constitution of India formulated by the Constituent Assembly and approved by Constituent Assembly on the date of November 26, 1949, and it was enforced on the date of Jan 26, 1950. You know that at the time of Constitution of India was enacted, the Constitution consists 395 articles, 8 schedules, and 22 parts. So that's why after the enforcement of the Constitution, the articles and the parts schedules are increased. At present, they are around 486 articles are there, and 12 schedules are there, and 24 parts also there. That's why you have to compare. At the time of enactment of the Constitution, there are 395 articles. Now there are 486 articles. At the time of enactment of the Constitution, there are 8 schedules. At present, there are 12 schedules. And parts 22, they increased as 24. For making our Constitution, the Constituent Assembly formulated 22 committees. 22 committees. In that, very important is that drafting committee. Drafting committee. You know very well, drafting committee chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is popularly known as Father of Indian Constitution. M.V. Filey said that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as Father of Indian Constitution. He was the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. So along with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, there are 6 other members in drafting committee. Okay. So here, for making of the Constitution, the Constituent Assembly took 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. 18 days. You have to note it down. For making of Indian Constitution, the Constituent Assembly took 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. According to the Ivor Jennings, the Constitution of India is best among the all constitution in modern governments. That's why you have to mention the brief introduction about the Constitution of India before going to write the salient features of Indian Constitution. Why we are going to discuss about salient features here? While making our Constitution of India, we approached around 60 constitutions. Around 60 constitutions for best features. And we borrowed so many features from the 60 around world constitutions and incorporated in our Constitution. That's why some are criticized as Indian Constitution patchwork, Xerox copy. Whereas Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said It was not patchwork. It was not Xerox copy, because we followed the 60 constitutions, and they adapted to the Indian constitution according to the Indian environment, Indian customs and traditions, Indian practice. That's why here Indian constitution is the best among the world constitution according to the Ivor Jennings. Let's go with salient features of Indian constitution one by one. The very first is that it is the written, detailed and lengthiest constitution in the world. You know very well, Indian constitution is the written constitution, detailed constitution, detailed constitution. You have to mention the factual information in this. Actually, you have to compare with other constitutions. Indian constitution is the written constitution. You know very well, the constitutions are classified into two types based on the nature. Because here the constitutions are, some are unwritten manner, some are written manner. If the constitution which is in written manner, that was the written constitution. The constitution which is in written form is called as written constitutions, whereas the constitution which is in unwritten form, unwritten manner, is called as unwritten constitution. Give the example here. Unwritten constitution, very popular constitution is that Britain constitution. Britain constitution, whereas rest of the Britain remaining constitutions mostly written constitution. That's why the popular examples of the written constitution is that USA constitution, Indian constitution, Canada constitution, Australian constitution, even China constitution also. They are the examples of written constitution. Here Indian constitution was a written document, you know very well. So because we drafted the constitution, for making the constitution, for drafting the constitution, we formulated drafting committee. This committee drafted the constitution, which consists 395 articles. Just now we discussed 395 articles and 8 schedules and 22 parts. At the beginning of the Indian constitution, the constitution consists 395 articles, 8 schedules, 22 parts. Now they are increased as 486 articles, 12 schedules, 24 parts. 24 parts. You have to compare with other constitution. If you take example as USA constitution, it consists of 7 articles. 7 articles. If you take Australian constitution, it consists of 128 articles. If you take China constitution, it consists of 138 articles. 138 articles. If you take Canada as example, the Canadian constitution consists 147 articles. So now compare with Indian constitution. So USA constitution, which consists 7 articles. Australian constitution, which consists 128 articles. And the China 138, Canada 147, the lengthiest among the world constitutions. Understood? That's why you have to compare like comparative manner while you are making the answers. Understood? That's why here Indian constitution is the written one and the lengthiest one, and moreover why this was became bulky and lengthy, because of the incorporation of all the provisions in very detailed manner. What are all the provisions regarding to the rights, responsibilities and the directive principles, and the bifurcation of the powers between the legislature, executive, judiciary. Like this, they incorporated all the provisions in the Indian constitution in very clear manner about the elections, about the rights, duties, and also directive principles of state policy, and also mention clearly about the parliamentary provisions, legislative provisions, relation between the union government and the state government, and all those things are clearly mentioned in our constitution. That's why it became bulky. You have to mention Indian constitution is the written, detailed and lengthiest constitution in the world constitution. This is the picture. So is it yes or no? So this is the one. This is considered as the first salient feature of the Indian constitution. So what is mean by salient constitution? Salient feature here, the feature which is alone enjoyed the Indian constitution, because there are some features enjoyed by other constitution. Here our constitution enjoyed some specific, some peculiar features. They are called salient features, basic features of Indian constitution. Clear, I thought, all of you. Then the next one is that India is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. India is socialist, secular, democratic republic. The second salient feature is that India is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. So India is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. It is also one of the salient feature of Indian constitution, which mentioned in our preamble. You know very well, our preamble is the preface of the Indian constitution. In the preamble, we clearly mention, we the people of India, having solemnly resolved India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Yes or no? So what it means? India is sovereign country. India is the socialist country. India is the secular country. India is the democratic country. India is the republic country. It is the nature of the Indian nation. That's why we have to mention one line at least for each and every word which are mentioned in our preamble clearly. So what is mean by sovereign here? The sovereignty means supreme power. Supreme power. You know very well, you studied in first year. Sovereignty means supreme power. This power vested with the India. So this supreme power enjoyed by the state of India, either internally and externally. That means the sovereignty is internal and external. Internally, India is enjoyed the supreme power on the people of India. Externally, the India enjoyed the supreme power on the other states. That means here, while taking any decision in India, Indian government or Indian state enjoyed the supreme power over the people of India. Then, if in external manner or external sovereignty point of view, our India enjoyed the freedom from abroad. Freedom from abroad. That means while enjoying the internal sovereignty, it enjoyed the full command on the people. While enjoying the external sovereignty, it enjoyed the freedom from other countries abroad. So here, India is a sovereign country. India never obey the external burden or external obedience. That means, for example, in the year 1949, India took membership in the Commonwealth countries, Commonwealth nations. These are the nations which are under controlled by British colonial rule. That means the head of the Commonwealth nations are British Queen. So we took the membership in the Commonwealth nations. But here it was not reduce the supreme power of the Indian government. It is the extra constitutional decision made by the government of India for taking membership in Commonwealth nations. So being a member of the Commonwealth nations, we are not losing our sovereignty. At the same time, we also have the membership in UNO, United Nations Organization. In the year 1945, we took membership in United Nations Organization. Here also, we are not losing our sovereignty. We are enjoying the sovereignty in internal manner, at the same time external manner. So this is called sovereignty. India is the sovereign country. Is India considered as a sovereign state? Yes, India is considered as sovereign state. Then secular state. What is mean by secular state? Sorry, socialist state. The second term is that socialist. You know very well, beginning the constitution, that means in the original constitution, the socialist and the secular words are not existed. Later on, we added to the Indian constitution. We incorporated these two words to the preamble in the year 1946 by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Understood all of you? Here, by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, we added socialist secular terms to our preamble. Now the preamble is considered as India is sovereign country, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Before that, India is sovereign, democratic republic. That is the change after the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So now, socialist country. You know that what is mean by socialist country, socialist state? In the socialist country, the state should take responsibility to provide economic, social and political welfare to the people of the country. Understood? The state should take responsibility to provide social justice, economic justice and political justice. So that is called socialistic nature of the state in Indian point of view. So before going to that, you have to remember there are two different dimensions of the socialist countries. One is, you know, that communist basis of the socialism, communist basis. Another one is democratic basis. That means communist socialism, which is influenced by Karl Marx, and democratic socialism, which is influenced by Gandhiji. Understood? So there are two different dimensions regarding to the socialist point of view or socialist nature of the state. One is influenced by Karl Marx, that was the communist point of view. Another one is influenced by Mahatma Gandhi, that was democratic point of view. Here the communist point of view, the country which nationalize all the forms of production, on the forms of production. That means nationalization of all the means of production. Nationalization of all the means of production. All the means of production. This is communist based of socialistic state, which is practiced in China, which is practiced in Russia. At the same time, abolition of private property, abolition of private property, abolition of private property. So these are included in communist basis of socialistic nature. Whereas in democratic point of view, we are not followed these nationalization of all the means of production and the abolition of private property in India. We adapted democratic form of socialism, democratic form of socialism, which are influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. So what is mean by democratic form of socialism? Here we provide welfare to all people, that is, the state should responsible to provide welfare to the all people. That is called Gandhian style of socialism. So nothing but here Indian type of socialism, which is the bunch of Karl Marx and Gandhiji, which are influenced by both Karl Marx type and the Gandhian style of socialism. Clear all of you? Is India considered as a socialistic state? Yes, India is considered as socialistic state because here the India is taking responsibility to provide welfare to the people of India. So this is called socialist. India is the sovereign country. India is socialist country. Then what about secular? Is India secular state? Yes, India is secular state. So is socialistic word existed in original constitution? No, it was introduced in the year 1946 by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So in original constitution, these two words are not existed because we are not expected this type of words in our constitution because we already mentioned one fundamental right, that is right to religion. What is that? Right to religion. So before incorporation of this socialistic word or secular word, we have some features regarding to such a nature of secular state, that is right to religion. You know that article 25 to article 25 to 28 25 to 28 of the Indian Constitution deals right to religion. You know very well, we studied in the fundamental rights. It is the very popular fundamental rights, that is the right to religion, article 25 to 28. So before incorporation of secularism, we have the features of secular state in the concept of fundamental rights. Part 3 of Indian Constitution from article 25 to 28 deals right to religion. So then what is mean by secularism here? The state which provide equal status to all the religions, irrespective of any religion. Here we are enjoying the equality in the matters of religion. That means no official religion of the state. That means India does not have any official religion. So all the religions are living together. At the same time, all the religions are treated equal manner. So there is no special privileges to any particular religion. So that is why here India is secular state. India secular state. Yes, India is secular state because there is no official religion of the India and all the religions are treated equal manner only. This is called secular. Then democratic or the democracy. You know that is India democratic state? Yes, India is democratic state. What is mean by democracy? The term democracy is derived from the two Greek words demos and krasia. What are they? Demos, krasia. Demos means people, krasia means rule. That means, hence the democracy means rule by people. Rule by people. It's a very popular definition given by Abraham Lincoln, you know very well. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Who gave this definition? Abraham Lincoln, former president of America. He gave very important and the popular definition is that democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Here, who are the kings in democracy? People are the kings in democracy. So here, India adopted democratic form of government instead of monarchy, instead of aristocracy. We formulated democratic form of government. Here the democracy classified into two types of democracy. The one is direct democracy, another one is indirect democracy. Understood? Democracy classified into two types. One is direct democracy, another one is indirect democracy. If you take direct democracy, people who are directly participated in the government is called as direct democracy. Understood? The people who are directly involved in the government affairs is called as direct democracy. That means there is no medium between the people and government. That is called direct democracy. This type of democracy existed in Switzerland. Okay, so we found direct democracy in Switzerland. So keep in mind, we studied all these in first years. Democracy classified into two types, direct democracy and indirect democracy. The direct democracy, which is directly involved the people, okay, by the four, very well, some devices which are regarding to the direct democracy: referendum, initiative, recall, plebiscite. You know that there are four devices of direct democracy. One is referendum, initiative, recall, plebiscite. By these devices, people are directly involved in the direct democracy. Whereas in indirect democracy, the people are indirectly participated in the government affairs. For example, between the people and the government, there are the representatives. There are representatives. Through their representatives, they are participated in the democracy. That's why this indirect democracy is called as representative form of democracy. Representative form of democracy. Representative democracy. Again, this democracy classified into two types. One is presidential form of government. Another one is parliamentary form of government. Presidential form of government which is existed in USA, and parliamentary form of government which is existed in Britain, India, like that. So this is about democracy. Then India is republic. India is republic. Is India republic or not? Yes, India is republic country, because while formulating the constitution of India, our constitutional makers observed so many options such as monarchy, at the same time republic. Basically, the democracy which is classified into two types. One is monarchy form of democracy and republic form of democracy. In this monarchy, the one head of the nation came from hereditary manner. Head of the nation came from hereditary manner. There is no election for the head of the nation in monarchy point of view. That's why we are not adapted such a hereditary manner of head of the nation, which is followed by the Britain. You know that Britain king or queen came from the hereditary manner. We are not taken for this India, and when we are adapted this from the France or French constitution regarding to the election. Our head of the nation came from election. So keep it in mind, our president of India came from election manner. That's why India is republic country. That means republic nation is nothing but the nation, the head of the nation came from the election manner, not hereditary manner. The head of the nation who came from election, who came by the election, not hereditary manner, is called as republic nation. That's why we concluded India is sovereign, India is the socialist, India is the secular, India is the democratic, India is republic country.